worship rose up to the Father. Noises, thunders, earthquakes were the response to my worship. The fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Noises, thunders, lightnings were the response to my worship. The fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Noises, thunders, earthquakes were the response to my worship. The fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Noises, thunders, lightnings were the response to my worship. First it was fragrance, then it turned to fire. My worship is now, this is how I win my battles. First it was fragrance, then it turned to fire. Hey, my worship is now, this is how I win my battles. Everybody said the fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Noises, thunders, earthquakes were the response to my worship. Hey! Fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Noises, thunders, lightnings were the response to my worship. The fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Noises, thunders, lightnings were the response to my worship. The fragrance of my worship rose up. Noises, thunders, lightnings. Are you ready? Everybody say, first it was fragrance, then it turned to fire. My worship is, this is how I win my battles. Say first it was fragrance, then it turned to fire. My worship is my weapon. This is how I win my battles. Say first it was fragrance, then it turned to fire. My worship is my weapon. This is how I win my battles. So first it was fragrance. This is how I win my battles. Somebody say it again. First it was fragrance. This is how I win my battles. Lift your hands with me. This is how I win, win, win. This is how I win. The smoke of my worship release upon the earth. Aha! This is how I win, win, win. This is how I win. The smoke of my worship release upon. Everybody say, this is how. This is how I win. The smoke of my worship. So this is how I win. The smoke of my worship. We did not say, this is how I win, win, win. The smoke of my worship. So this is how I win.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to The Footstep. Today is the 20th of March 2021, and we thank God for how far He has really brought you and I. Today we are here to inspire you, to educate you, and also to motivate you up. And today, our topic for today is you leading yourself. Leading yourself. So we don't know how life has been like to you. What has been your goals from the beginning of the life, from the beginning of the year. But if you are that person that sometimes you start something and you get discouraged and you don't continue, then this program will help you to navigate yourself to where you want to really be, or what God has really said about your life. So in the show today, we'll be taking our motivational quote, and we'll have Glenn who will be showing us some few artwork, and it is more or less like this art. There is a work to that art that our brother have really drew for us, and he will be explaining to us what it means in life. And I believe that behind every art there is a thought behind it. So just stay tuned whilst we take our motivational quote, and we will come back right after the motivational quote and also taking the spoken word, and then we continue the show. My guest for today is someone that I've known for so many years, and I believe that with him he will navigate us through. Hi Sissy, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Alright, so what do you have for us today?
So today my motivational quote is from John Maxwell, and the quote is, "To lead yourself, use your head. To lead others, use your heart." To lead yourself, use your head. To lead others, use your heart. So when I was thinking about this quote, it makes me remember my leadership role when I was in the Ghanaian community, which I am still in the Ghanaian community in Montreal, where I was volunteering, and I got people following me wanting to learn how to volunteer in our community. And I've seen, wow, I have impacted a lot of youth, young people in our community. They didn't even really know about Ghanaian community in Montreal, but through me and others, we're able to get them involved to volunteer in our community, which is growing and growing. And also when I think about church, I get the youth involved, and they always ask me, how do I do this? I said, I guess it's the grace of God that's helping me to impact everybody, to be successful, to know, like, yes, if I can be a leader, I can be a leader successfully and then touch people's heart in order to have the same impact as I got with them and they got from me. So this is my quote for today. So back to you, Brother Aubrey.
We'll take our motivation, our spoken word from Glenn.
Hello everyone. The message I want to share is never giving up. Sometimes you might feel like you're carrying the world on your shoulders, like everything is going on wrong, everything is not going your way. But hey, the teacher is always quiet when he's having a test. So I just want to encourage everyone to keep fighting for whatever they're fighting for, to not lose hope, because even though you feel like you're carrying the world on your shoulders and things are not going your way, you still have to keep that spirit of moving forward and like not giving up on your dreams and your hopes and everything, but to keep on striving for your goal, be consistent on what you're doing, put passion in what you're doing. So at the end of the day, you see what you can do, because trust me, life hasn't been easy. With this virus coming up, people losing their jobs and everything, there's always light at the end of a tunnel, and at the end of a rain there's always a rainbow. So I just want everyone to keep pushing, push hard. I want everyone to say push hard. So the theme for this week is push hard. I want everyone to push hard, to push themselves to the limit. Staying in your comfort zone won't help you to gain anything. You need to go out of your comfort zone to see what you can do, because God put talent in each and every one of us, even though yours may not show at this point. But if you go an extra mile, you may not know what will happen. You might have like different talents and everything. So I just want everyone to push hard and not giving up. And the picture I drew today is a man holding the world. I think in my history class it's called Atlas. He was holding the world on his shoulders. So I kind of felt it works hand in hand. Like, you know, people think they carry the world on their shoulders and things are not going their way, whilst Atlas was carrying the world on his shoulders, but he was still standing. That means he's strong. So if Atlas could carry the world on his shoulders, why can't you carry the world on your shoulders? So today's message is push hard, push yourself to the limit, and don't give up. Thank you very much. Hope to see you next time. Thank you.
All right, welcome back from the motivational quote. But from what Glenn just said, that if you are working so hard, keep on pushing so hard, and definitely you will get there. So you see that man with a big stone, you know, he's carrying a weight, and he's so pushing so hard to be able to really carry this. So just as I told you today, our topic for today is leading yourself, and our guest for today is Brother Kwame Anane Frimpong. Is really a friend I have known way back from Ghana, and here we are again today. He's going to really help us. I know he has so much that he's going to share with us today, and I don't want to say much about him, so I want him to introduce himself. Who is Kwame? And Kwame, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Danny. On the screen, Danny Obri, but you know I'm used to calling you Obri. So, pardon me if I call you Obri, because I'm used to calling you Obri. I know that's your surname. Thank you for having me. And I was saying it's a wonderful program. I watched the last episode before, and I was quite impressed. And I'm very happy to, I would say, have the opportunity to be with you today, and to your wonderful team, Glenn and Cici, for the amazing work that they're doing. Nobody else sees what's behind the scene. You know, people are always interested in the end product, but what's behind the scene sometimes could be very hectic. And I know you guys are doing a lot to bring this program to the audience, especially those at home who are watching us today. I'm very happy to be here today. My name is Kwame Ananefempo, as you rightly said, and sometimes very difficult to introduce myself other than say Kwame is my name, and I just love what I do, and I'm a very passionate person. Personally, I'm a family man with 3 kids and a wife, and I love my wife so much. I love my kids so dearly. Professionally, I would say that I'm a people's person. I'm a youth worker. I have some background in social work. I have some background in public health, and currently what I'm working on is on climate change and renewable energy and environmental issues. So that's what I can say for now, Aubrey.
Thank you so much. I know I couldn't find any way to really introduce you because I've known you all those years with such an amazing work that we've been doing way back when we were home, and here we are again. I mean, we've not really leave those spirit behind, but we are here today to also motivate other people and then inspire them and to push them to their limit. Today our topic, Kwame, as you know, is leading yourself. And our first question is, what does it take, or what does leading yourself mean? What does leading yourself mean?
Let me put it this way. One of the things that I've learned over the years is that do unto others what you want others to do unto you. And there's a popular reggae song which says that the world is like a mirror reflecting on everything that you do. If your face is smiling, it will smile right back to you. And so whatever you see in your face is in the mirror is a true reflection of yourself. So do unto others what you want others to do unto you, so that your years will be many years much longer. Coming back to your question, I always set setting goals for myself as a person. I challenge myself a lot. Sometimes I dream very big, and my ideas sometimes appear to be very little bit blur when I first break it out to anyone that I work with or people close to me, either a close family associate or an extended person that I work with. But along the line, people begin to see that bigger dream, there is some traits of it coming to fruition. All because of the values that I set for myself and the belief that I have in myself. You are the first person to believe in yourself. You know, there are times in life when people are encouraged or motivated when others tell them that you're good. When they don't tell them, they are down. No, I don't believe in that. The first motivator is myself. I always motivate myself. I always set a certain standard, a goal for myself. I challenge myself. I'm my own competitor. I don't look at others for competition, because when sometimes you look that, you might think you are going fast, but you realize that you're not going far because you are looking at others as your competitors. So their goals, you set your benchmark based on their goals. And so when their goals is very limited, you realize that your goal is very limited because you set your benchmark based on their goals. So this is what inspires me, setting my own goals, believing in myself, have my own strong values. Because values are what defines us as human beings, right? Values are what encourage us to work with others in a way that we don't offend them, or in a way that we don't offend ourselves. And make sure that you set certain standard of accountability for yourself, because at the end of the day, your reputation is always on your line. You know, it's very difficult to build a certain reputation and pedigree for yourself. But it's so easy losing it. You can build an empire for decades. You can use to build an empire, but it takes just one day for it to be broken down. So again, to answer your question, Aubrey, that is what defines me. And leading myself means to me. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I just want us to really go a little bit into personal. I mean, you've done a lot of leading a whole lot of young people way back in Ghana some years back. So
Yes.
with all this in, how do you really assess yourself during those times when you were a leader? How will we say how? I just want you to really talk a little bit about what you did back home, and let's also see how can ordinary person assess him or herself as a young person, as a leader.
Aubrey, I remember the day when you told me you were coming to Canada. I think I was the first person you showed your visa to, and that was the first person I actually saw a Canadian visa. Also, this is red and very beautiful. I think that was busy internet when you called me that Kwame, I want to show you something, and it was a very emotional moment because at that time we were working together, and you can also recollect that at that time you were in a university. I think you were just graduated from Cape Coast University. I was in university then, but then I was the coordinator, the country representative of the Global Youth Action Network, and you were let me put it in that context, my communications person. So I was leading at that time as a leader, if you want to put it in that context, even though I didn't see myself as leading, even though it was a leadership position, I saw myself as serving. But I was working with a team of young leaders who academically were, up there, right? So like you graduated from the university, Simon Azoska Tech, he was university, Daniel Boatin, they were all university. At that time, I was just an ordinary person. I didn't know I was what I was.
I mean, so much good stuff. Young people together.
I didn't know what I would end up in university, So, but I was privileged. Let me put it in that context to be able to work with you and all these guys from KVAS, coming from University of Science and Technology, University of Ghana, UDS. We were all over the place. But at that time, I was holding a high school certificate. So, what really made me to find myself in that position and to be able to work with, like I said, you and some of these guys who were academically up there and very brilliant, some of the most brilliant guys I've come across. I believe for me, let me say, it comes with the grace of God first, because if it was not the grace of God, I wouldn't find myself in a position where I would lead guys who have university qualifications, and at that time I never dreamt of going to the university. And I think being able to rally you guys, having that strong willpower, that determination. You could see at that time that there was that youthful exuberance, and somebody would say charisma. I don't know whether that was charisma but anytime I bring something to the table, I realize that every one of us jump into it. Let me just fast track. Some few minutes ago, I was here with a team of volunteers, and we are having an outreach program in one building. That's why I'm in the office today. That's why I'm making this call. But prior to that, we had to connect. We do our team meetings. So we connected on Zoom to connect with some of our other volunteers who were home who couldn't join us today. I knew this meeting was 4 o'clock. Okay, and our outreach starts at 4 o'clock. So in the process when we were having the meeting, I just stepped out. I went out there, I did whatever I have to do. When I came in, my team like, oh, Kwame, we're done. Can we go set up the table and everything for us to? And by the time they got there, they got to the lobby, everything was organized. So they were just looking at me and saying, what time did you leave us to go set the place up? That is me. That is how I work. I lead by example, right? I take the leadership because at that time I knew that timing was a factor, one, and then I didn't want to just leave everything for them to go and then, you know, do everything. I could have done that because I can make an excuse and say that, you know what, I have an interview, I need to prepare my mind physically, spiritually, psychologically, mentally for them because I don't know what questions are going to ask and so on and so forth. But then I took that role to set the place up for them. And this is what drives me. This is what I've been doing over the years. You know, working with you close to maybe 50 years ago, I believe. This is what drives me, you know, bringing guys together, sometimes making my family home the guest house for my team. You know, all of us will group in one single room, about 8 guys, sometimes 6 in one single room, and we'll sleep together on the chairs and on the tables. On, you know, those are things that I believe really drives and kind of motivate others to follow lead or to follow my footsteps. So I just didn't start say, okay, because I'm the national coordinator, or, you know, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, and, you know, I direct and I stand there. No, I always take the lead, and in the process we all. And when it comes to criticism,
yeah, proud to that. You know, with all this thing that Kwame you were doing, there was a passion behind it. Something was really pushing you. I remember at a point in time when we had left from one conference from Ebui, and we were supposed to really get to Accra, get all the way to Bolgatanga, for example, to stay there for a couple of a month before coming back home to our various house. But then I hadn't even been home. I've completed, and no one have even seen me. Just they've seen my things over there, and I just want you to bring your mind on this. You remember at the Kumasi station where the bus, I mean, they couldn't accommodate all of us. We have to.
Okay.
There's so much noise, and then you step into.
You know that
you basically step in and say, you know what? OA is saying they are giving you accommodation. Let's take the advantage and sleep and leave on Sunday morning. And with all this sense, I mean, what was the passion behind all this thing? And let's really look at how, as a young person listening to you today, how would the person really get this passion and assess himself to that limit?
You know, and I thank you for bringing the Kumasi incident, because those were moments where, as a leader, you have to step up. And I think if I should narrate the scene, it wasn't very nice and cozy. You know, the reason for them to give us the guest house, it wasn't just a matter of going there, because we tried everything we could, you know, to dialogue, to, you know, sometimes beg them and say, look, we need a place to sleep, because even the reason why we are not going to Bolga at that time is because of you. It is your mistake, but we're okay with that. But just give us a place to lay our head. And that was even not the case. I said, look, we want you guys to sit in the bus, not the chairs that we have in the bus, the comfort seat, but they want to put some little stools inside the bus for us to sit on. And at that time, you could see that was a risk that they wanted us to take. You know, traveling from Kumasi to Bolga and sitting on a stool. And I said, look, I'm not going to compromise the life of my team. Okay, that is not going to happen. We are not going to go, and the bus is not going to move. So initially we thought, okay, these guys were just young guys, they could just push around. But they found out that we had a case, because we believe in that these are right. And some parts of the world, there's nothing like right. In Canada, yes, you have your rights, but in some countries, your rights really doesn't matter. Okay, but at least we at that moment, and we make sure that. And when I say we, I didn't want to take the credit, even though I was then the main person, but I felt that I got that motivation, that desire to push forward because I had the support from you guys. When I look back, I see you, I see all these guys. I felt that, look, this is the moment I have to step in because everybody was looking at you. But then the energy that I had came from you guys, because when I look back, I felt, look, I had the support. Right? It's like a soldier going to war, and you're like, look, without the army, the general, you're just nobody, because you need your team to rally behind you. And I think those were the moments that defines a leader. Not giving up, not stepping back, just keep fighting, and make sure that first you have the confidence of the people that you're working with, because you can't do it alone. There's some people, once they have an idea, they don't want to discuss the idea with other team members. They say, okay, this is what I have, and I'm just going ahead to do it. No, you need to consult. And I think those were the moments where I had to come to you guys and say, look, I remember quite very well that one of the guys was like, no, let's go. They called by my nickname, Lobos, let's go. I said, no, where are we going? Let's fight. Let's make sure that they give us a place. And we had a comfy place, and the guest house at that time, I believe, was a new place. Nobody had slept in, and we were the first guys to really enjoy. So my life and how I share my story is based on the experiences, how I tell what I'm able to achieve. It's just not just by the book, but by my life experience. I'm happy that we're able to bring these things back. And I think you left something. You remember we went to Cape Coast, and then we ate something. We ate some food, and at that time we started running. And
we ate some banku.
And which was a great wall and some okra, and we all felt like diarrhea, and whether it was food poisoning, it was food shivery, and we have to rally everybody together. And for me, those were the moments those were the trial, those were test moments that brings about the leadership in you, right? Yeah.
All right. So I think you've really said you said a lot. And so let's see, how does someone, an ordinary person, gets to really open this door to step out, to really motivate himself, to lead himself? How do we need some people like a destiny, people to really help us really step there? Maybe A want to really get to this, but then he tried all means, maybe he's not really getting to that level that he has to really go. So do we need destiny people to really help us to get to where we want to really get to?
I will not say that we need destiny people. Your destiny is in your hands. You control your destiny, right? God has given us everything in His finite wisdom. He's given us everything to be whoever we want to be in this life. What it takes is you identifying what you are good at. Sometimes we tend to do one thing because others are doing it, and so we want to be this because my neighbor is that. But maybe that is not your calling. Okay, once you identify your calling, you will know that everything else that you do is smooth sailing, even though you have some difficulties. Of course, there are challenges that will come. If you see an artifact, okay, if you go to the source where it is being done, you will see that it's a kind of a wood, and they start with just chiseling it all over the place. It looks dirty with some rough edges. But when the finished product is done, it's so smooth that you want to pay any amount of money to purchase it. That is life. some rough edges, some very rough edges. I remember there was a time when, I had gone out. I think that was the Buduburam refugee camp. I was doing some work there with UNHCR. I was working for the Student World Assembly as a volunteer at that time. And I came back home very tired. I think I was there for like 2 days, listening to the stories of former warlords, the stories of former child soldiers, because I was taking some reporting back to Student Assembly in the US. And I came home very tired, because at that time I lived with my mom. I was still very young. I just came out from the university, from high school. And then one of my, auntie, she said, Anani, she's called by my mother, Anani, busy for nothing, right? So things like that when you hear, and the reason I still with me, I still remember, because it breaks you down. If you're not careful, you will not. And not that she intentionally was like, because that was how I looked at that time. Like I said, I was just making the craft and how you chisel the edges and the rough edges, and like, this looks dirty. But I realized they chisel it well, they smooth it, and they shine it, and they spray it, and it looks very good. At that time, I was presenting myself as a rough edges. So once you see me, you say, oh yes, busy for nothing. And true, I was busy, but to them it was nothing, because I go and I come and I don't bring anything. Rather, when I come, I'm like, oh, I'm hungry, please give me food, let me eat. They're like, you be going out there sometimes 2-3 days. Where do you go? That all the time you come home, you're always coming to and ask for food. The place that you go, don't they feed you? Don't they give you food? You see, so as a person, you be hearing these things along the line. People around you sometimes, not like they want to break you down. It's not their intention to break you down. But in the journey, that is how you begin. Some people are born with a silver spoon in your mouth, right? But others, you have to fight. And I don't think that is always why you controlling a certain destiny, or it's in your hands. But you need, like I said, that discerning spirit to be able to know that this is for me or this is not for me. Because if you're not in that position, you'll be chasing something that is actually not yours. And sometimes you might work your way through or buy your way through, because this is like, some people, once they say, I want to do this, they set their mind and that is what they want to do. But what I ask God is like, give me the direction, so that if this thing is not mine, I don't waste my time. If you're going through the highway, maybe 401, and you have to exit on 401, maybe 53 something, and you don't exit, maybe you don't know your way, and then you just drive, and you have to go further, other kilometers, before you do what? You get another exit to be able to come back to the point where you needed to go. So you can see that once you miss that stop, now you have to travel. If you have to get to your destination in 20 minutes because you missed that spot. Now you get to your destination in 30 minutes or maybe 1 hour. That is life. If you miss that spot, then you prolong your breakthrough. So I can sit here and say, oh yes, you do this, you do that, but in the end, you need that discerning spirit. Sometimes your luck, you can manufacture your own luck. Some people are very lucky, but I always say that I'm not a lucky person. I manufacture my luck.
All right, Kwame, thank you so much. We'll take a break, but then once we come back, since we're talking about destiny, we'll look at what has God, what role does God play in our life in leading ourselves. So we'll take a break, and then also if you are watching us and you have any question you want to ask, you can just join us on Facebook, the Footstep Show on Facebook and YouTube, and put your question over there, and we'll pick it and address those questions over there. So we'll be right back just after this break. Welcome back. If you have just joined us, you are watching the Footstep Show. Today we are talking about leading yourself. How does it take for you to really lead yourself? My guest today is Brother Kwame Anane Frimpong. Before we went on break, we were talking about the destiny factor in it. So my question is that does God play a role? Is there a God factor in leading ourselves, or what does God play in our life in leading ourselves?
And God, you see, when the name God appears in everything, you see, God is a central theme in everything we do. Okay, God is a central theme in everything we do. Going to bed to sleep, waking up in the morning, walking, breathing, talking. He's a central theme in everything that we do. So we need God in every step that we take. We need God in every decision that we make. We need Him. Without God, we are nothing. That's simple as that. You know, let's take what the world is going through now today. You can see that science at one point failed us. With all respect to our scientists, they're doing well, but at one point our leaders didn't even have the answer. Everybody was struggling. Those are the moments that we say, God, take control of the situation. So sometimes when I hear our leaders talk, I want to see that trait coming out. And so look, let's pray. These days we want to rely on our own strength. We want to rely on our own ideas and knowledge without bringing God into the fold, into the equation. There are moments where I was expecting our leaders to say, look, go out there and pray. If you are a Christian, go and pray. If you are a Muslim, pray. I wanted to see that. But you see, we always rely on our own intellect, our own ideas, and then we make matters worse. So God plays a central role in everything that I do. Because there are moments where you come to a point that you don't have the strength anymore. You come to realize that, look, I'm done. If God doesn't set in, I'm done. And that's where miracle happens. Sometimes God will allow you. You know, some people say, oh, I don't believe in God, but I'm rich. Oh, really? God loves you, even if you don't love Him. He loves you. The very reason you are existing is because of the love of God that He has for you. He has for us. So it was, oh yeah, I can do this. I'm able to do all these things without having to go to church. No, we're not talking about church. Oh, I was able to do this.
All right, so Kwame, please finish that so that I finish the thoughts what you were saying.
Yes.
So
to conclude, what I will say is that, like we always say as Christians, God is the Alpha and then the Omega. He is the beginning and the end. You know, the I am that I am. He's, you know, He decides. We are like pencils, you know, in the hands of the Creator. So in everything that we do, we need Him. We need the presence of God.
So I want to ask is that what is the hardest thing that you have done to improve yourself or in your circumstances? Like, what are some of the hardest things that maybe you have done to improve yourself? The tough decisions that sometimes you have to really take in life.
Agree. Personally, I think you know me better to know that to get to this point, every decision that I've made in my life, even to today, is a tough decision. Every decision. I don't recollect any decision that I had to, you know, just make it on the silver platter. You know, from when I was in high school, coming out from high school, coming back to the street, not knowing what to do. You know, I remember there was a time when my I think my brother was graduating from the university, and then we went to help him out. You know, went to the university, went to Legon. And so when we got home, my grandmother, everybody was happy, and I remember my grandmother was asking me, "So what am I going to do? Would I go and do business?" You know, and I said, "No, I'm not going to do business. I also want to go to the university." But that time, people around me, you know, they look at this boy and say like, "No, it doesn't look like this guy is somebody who will be going to the university." But by the grace of God, you know, I've been to 3 different universities, and I still want to go more. So this, like I said, every decision that I made, even till today, was a very hard decision. And sometimes the decisions that you make, feeling wise, are the things that you feel, oh no, I don't need this. We always want to rely on the soft part of our feelings. You know, we find it difficult to even criticize ourselves. You know, just as you say, you look at yourself in the mirror and make that decision. If you have to criticize yourself, sometimes it's very difficult to be your own critic. You always want to sing praises. If you have to criticize yourself, just look within yourself and criticize yourself. And because the decision that I'm making is very difficult, but this is what I need. You have to make some sacrifices, but this is what I need. You have to spend countless times, sleepless nights, but this is what I need. You know, if you feel that okay, you can sleep and then you spend 2-3 hours on a project and you think you're going to make it, that's a lie. You have to go the extra mile. You have to, when people don't believe in you, you have to keep fighting and believing in yourself. We've been through sleepless night, Aubrey, you know that. But those were moments that defined us. I remember one day you and I, let me say this, we went to Circle and you were wearing some suit, a very heavy one, very thick one, and you know, very big. And I was like, Aubrey, and it was very, you know, the sunny weather, very hot. And so Aubrey, Charlie, this coat here is too much. The coat was heavy, big, and I was laughing at you. I remember. Because at that time you needed to put on something because we were reporting for top radio on parliamentary affairs. I remember, and I was laughing at you. Okay, I said, okay, and I still laugh at you every time we talk. I said, that suit, that coat, I want to see that old school coat, very big, and we were looking the sun was scorching.
Well, this was this time.
You see, so those are times when you know you need to put in that effort, and you see, I believe that it is paid off, because I'm very happy that we're having a discussion like this and talking about, you know, how it all started. We still have a long way to go, to be honest with you. We're still very young. We still have many journeys to cross, and I believe there are others like CC and Glenn that will be looking up to you. Including our own children. So look.
Yeah. So I want to really add this. I wanted to add this, that in as much as any young person, is there a time that we need to really have some kind of a SWOT analysis, like, you know, knowing our strength, knowing our weakness, knowing our threat, and then the opportunity out there? I mean, you talking about the Circle incident, that sometimes I remember those times we normally, after walking through doing stuff, we go to the World Bank office and just really sit in the air condition to cool ourselves for a
Just
while,
a little bit.
and then go back again to what we have to really
yeah.
do. So do we have to really do all these things? You know, you see, tears are really coming from my eyes because I remember those times. The
that is the meaning of life, right? Because maybe you and I are the only guys who understand the conversation that is going on very well. I believe others who are watching that there's no, oh, these guys, what are they talking about? You know, but I remember talking about World Bank office. Okay, you know, as a result of our going to the World Bank, we were the first youth organization in West Africa to run a World Bank funded project. And that was $40,000 at that time. Okay.
Yeah.
The Youth in Action project, achieving the MDGs by 2015 and promoting democratic governance. But nobody knew. I remember there was a time I walked from ministries, Accra ministries to World Bank. And by the time I got to the World Bank office, there was a hole under my shoe. So when I was walking, I was feeling the heat. Okay, by that moment, we needed to go, we needed to push ourselves because there was no hope anywhere. Nobody will tell you that, oh yeah, like here, sometimes you get up in the morning and everything's in the fridge. Life is like a microwave. You put it in, the food is there, you just dump it, you can't eat it. Just no, it was not like that. We have to take that seed of faith. Okay, we needed to take that seed of faith and believe in ourselves. And at the end of the time, at the end of the day, you realize that it paid off. It paid off for you, it paid off for me, it paid off for some of the other guys. Some few weeks ago, I was talking to Boat. You know, now he has his PhD, and you know, he was telling me how I motivated. I said, Boat, no, don't say that. You inspired me. You inspired me. So you see, you need to be within the right circle. You need to identify your friends. You need to know who your friends are, because some friends will break you down. Some friends will discourage you. Some friends, they've already given up. So they will force you to give up. So the community that you find yourself in also helps with your growth. So if you're in the wrong community, you have a problem. It was good I left where I was living to move to a different location when I was in Ghana, because that really was a game changer for me. If I had stayed in that area, I probably wouldn't be talking to you now. But for that decision to move and say, you know what, this environment is not good for my development. Even as a young person, I didn't really have control over my thoughts. But like I said, that when the heavens favors you, because I confidently, I will tell you that the reason I left Kokomeme to A-Lang, it was not because I analyzed the situation. I was too young to make those decisions. But I did that, and that was again because I met new friends. I was in the company of new guys who were willing and ready to fight. And so that also got me that mojo, that vibe to say, look, I can do it. So sometimes your location is not good, you change it. I know sometimes it's very difficult. You say, oh no, we are too comfortable. We like this place. Oh no, I don't want to move, you know, very monolithic, you know, this is a place for me. Have to change. Abraham has to change his location before he received the blessing. Sometimes if it means traveling to a different province or to a different city, make that decision. Because maybe for where you are, your blessing is not there. But if you want to move to another location, that's where you identify your helpers. Because at every time you need someone in your life. We all need someone in our life. No man is an island on its own. But to do that, you need to take that seed of faith. And I think that is what we did, Aubrey. And I will always encourage the young ones. We're still, like I said, we're still very young, but the young ones that are coming, who are looking up to us, I always encourage them. Change your environment, change your friends.
So Kwame, before we go, we have some few minutes left. Before we go, how will you say, like, you leading yourself effectively and staying on the track? Must it be a constant thing that must really remind you always? You know, we've talked about courage, we've talked about integrity, we've really talked about the passion behind that pushes us. So to the young one out there, what should be something that should really effectively remind them that, you know, I said I want to do this, I want to really get to this place, I want to really get to this level? What must that person do?
Really, is it our generation, and there's another generation, right? You know, we looked up to role models. Okay, we had role models, you know, where we try to model our life around that role model. I had my role models, you know, I can tell you I had my role models, people that I look up to, who I've went through. You read about them, you study them, you listen to, if they are alive, you follow the things they say and all that. Because sometimes, you know, it's not as easy as we're saying. There are times when you feel like giving up. But when you have a role model, if you have a mentor, then that's a bonus. But sometimes you might not have a mentor with you, but you have a role model. So there are two different things. If you have a role model, you try to look up to them and you stay focused. Sometimes you go up, you go down. And when they tell, that's why, you know, when you're a motivational speaker, you do the speaking, but you also bring about the realities. Because sometimes we make it seem as if, oh, 1 + 1 is 2, oh, 2 + 2 is 4, and blah, blah, blah. No, there are some times where 1 + 1 can never be 2. You have to fight, believe in what you're doing. Like, the first thing is you believing in what you're doing. Because the moment you have that fickle-mindedness, you don't have that, you know, that stability. Somebody comes in and says, oh no, this thing is not going to work. The next day, oh yeah, I want to try something else. Have that spirit of discernment. And once you know that this is it for you, keep pushing. I've seen a design or something like a motivational image where a guy was digging in a rock, breaking into, and he had just one last punch to be able to discover diamond, and the guy gave up. Sometimes you might feel like giving up, but always give yourself another time and keep fighting. And again, look at the role model, because if you don't have a role model in our local dynasty, maybe you can interpret that better. You need a jar, because as a young person, even presidents, they have council of elders. It's not a shame to ask when you don't know, because you need to ask somebody. Like our elder said, we've all been children before, but not all of us have been elders. So it's not a shame to ask. When you don't know, ask. By so doing, you grow, and that's what we do. Even today, I go to my mother when things are very tough for me. I can call my mother on the phone, and we can discuss certain things. And then she will encourage me. So it's not too late to ask, and it's not bad to ask. That's why we need role models around, because that's the only time. Because if it's for you alone, you know, you might give up. But when you look at role model, say he was able to make it in spite of all the challenges. He was able to make it, or she was able to make it. She was able to make it in spite of all the challenges. When you have that at the back of your mind, you said, if she's able to do it, I can also do it.
Yeah. I think you've really made a point that young people who are really listening to us today, if you do not have a role model, you look for one, and look at the circles of people that you have, and they can really motivate you up to really get to the goal, the God-given place that you want to really get to. Kwame, your final. I think we are almost. We've gone beyond our time, but then your final thoughts, and then we'll bring the show to a close.
I agree. I believe, listening to your program and watching it carefully. I know most of your audience are young people, like ourselves, and those that are much younger than ourselves. And my only advice to them is to sum it up. Just keep believing in yourself. Like we said, if you don't have a role model, try to have one. If you're lucky to have a mentor, sometimes the mentors are the people who are close to you. Could be your dad, it could be your mom. Sometimes we take them for granted because we see them all the time. So we think, oh no, or maybe your dad didn't go to school, university, so your dad cannot advise you about education. Or maybe your mom didn't go to university, so your mom cannot advise you about education. We sometimes end up thinking like that, but we listen to them. That will be a game changer for us. And just have to take God first in everything that we do. Like I said, He is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. Thank you for having me, Aubrey. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brother Kwame and Anefrim Pong, for really sharing your thoughts with us. We'll be right back, and then after we'll bring the closing remarks, and we end the show right after this. Alright, so we have really heard a lot tonight, and we have learned so many things from our guests, Brother Kwame and Anefrim Pong. The fact is that we need to really learn to live ourselves. The reality is that living yourself is often one of the most difficult tasks that we face in every day of our life. And in order for you to really achieve it, it is a constant reminder. You know, we heard from Brother Kwame, who was really sharing his life challenge, alongside things that we have really done back home. You know, you can't really see someone who have really gotten to the top, that the person just rise to really get there. But it takes motivation, and it takes some kind of courage, and it takes some kind of decisions, bold decisions, to really help you to navigate to that level that you want to really go in your life. Maybe now you watching me out there, maybe you are thinking that, oh, I don't really have good friends to really help me to really do that. But trust me, sometimes God brings some people in our life to really help us to get to the level that we have to really get to. You know, you see, at a graduate school, we always need a professor to navigate us, to really help us to really get to where we want to get to. It's the same place when you are at work and you are looking for another work to do. You always need a reference from someone to really help you to really get that job. It's the same thing about yourself, that you need yourself you need to really program your mind to really get to that level over there. And trust me, if you are able to really do that, then things will be okay for you. You know, disciplining yourself to do what you know is right and important, although it might be difficult and it might be some kind of challenge for you, but you know what? You need that personal satisfaction, and you need that self-esteem to really stand up and say, enough is enough. I need to really push on. I challenge you today, whoever that is listening today, that you need to really rise up and get to your destiny. It's in your hand. One thing that I can really add up to is that maybe you are not good in mathematics, you are not good in science, you are not good in chemistry. That doesn't mean that, you know, you cannot really be a great person in life. That is when you need to really look at those people that can help you to understand that course and pass that course. So we all need one another, but the greater person that we need, it is you yourself to really lead yourself up. So once you are able to see the light, others will also see that light. On behalf of all the crew and the team, we'd like to say a very big thank you to all of you watching this show today. God willing, we will meet another day. Next 2 weeks, we'll be looking at we'll be talking about a little bit about spirituality as we are in Easter, you know. So I pray that you can also pray alongside with us, pray alongside with your decisions that you want to really do in life. And whatever that you are doing, remember that it is not over until you decide that you want to give up. By giving up might be an option to you, but might not be an option to you yourself. It might be an option to you that you want to really take that decision. But then when those thoughts come, ask yourself so many questions. Where do you go from now in 10 years to come? My name is Daniel Emmanuel Obri, and on behalf of the team, we say good evening, good night, wherever you find yourself. We see you next week. Bye-bye.
To be blessed. Your name is glorious and great. In him we are saved. The name of Jesus, higher than other names. King of all kings, no other name like his. The name of Jesus, higher than other names. Alpha and Omega, no one. If you believe that, wave your hands to Jesus. Hey, 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 hey. name is victory. His name is powerful. The name of Jesus. King of all kings. No other name like him. The name of Jesus. Alpha and Omega. No other name. Lift your hand. Tell the name of Jesus. King of all kings. No other name. The name of Jesus. Alpha and Omega. Alpha and Omega. Come on. Hey, hey, come on. Hey. Every other God, you're better than that. Jesus died and rose again. Lift your hands, let's listen. We lift him higher. In your name, every knee shall bow. In your name, what can I say? Oh, we call